Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms. Volume 1 review. Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms has been running in Kodansha's popular weekly shonen magazine since 2021 and made its English digital debut in March 2022. More than a year later, the series has found its way to the physical market but doesn't prove a must read. Let's find out. Our story follows Mona, the cutest girl in her Tokyo high school who is adored by all of her peers, except for her classmate, Medaka Kuroiwa. Medaka is a new transfer student who came into their class 2 weeks before it started the series. Usually, but now, a newbie will be falling all over Mona, but so far, Medaka has been unapproachable. He glares at Mona whenever she tries to interact with him. He refuses to play along with any of her advances, even going so far as tell her not to interact with him. At this point, most people will give up and leave Medaka alone, but Mona refuses to go unknowledgeable when him and begins plotting ways to win his affection. She decides it's her mission to make him fall in love with her. What our hero doesn't know is that Medaka is a monk in training who isn't allowed to fall in love when he thinks she's super cute. But he's resolved not to react or let her know his inner thoughts, for if he does, he knows to become nothing more than her part plaything and quickly loses his determination, and so the peaceful days go on, with Mona desperately trying to come up with ways to get Medaka's attention, while he does his best to ignore her advances. All the while, Mona begins to slowly fall in love with him for real. In many ways, this premise is not too dissimilar. The Don't Toy With Me Miss Nakatoro or Teasing Master Takagi-san, and fans of those titles will enjoy the similarities here. However, I am not the biggest fan of the early chapters here in Volume 1. In the desperate attempt to get Medaka to notice her, Mona resorts to flashing her underwear at him and later showing him her bra. There's quite a lot of ecchi fan service drawn on this first volume, and honestly, I think that distracts from what is otherwise a fairly entertaining read. Another problem for me is the introduction of Tsubumi Haruno, another classmate who admires Mona and has a collection of secret photos stored in her phone. To begin with, Tsubumi assumes that Medaka is bullying Mona in some way that gets annoyed with him, which Mona then misunderstands as Tsubumi being in love with Medaka. It's a mess. And while the misunderstandings are funny, to begin with, I couldn't help but be wary of Tsubumi who, thanks to the photo collection, came off as a bit of a creepy stalker-like archetype. Luckily, by the end of the book, that part of her personality has been tuned down, but it's just another thing to put off potential readers. This isn't mangaka Ran Kosei's first work, but it's the first to make its way to the English market. My criticisms of the story aside, the rest of the series has a lot going for it. The character designs are attractive and Kosei is good at depicting a wide range of emotions throughout the 8 chapters, including here. And that's especially important for Mona, who changes drastically between her private inner thoughts and her queen bee persona at school, so I glad Kosei's work captures that so well. Ultimately, it's a strength of the art that will keep me on the hook for one more, wanting to see how things pan out. I'm hoping that more characters are introduced, and Mona comes to terms with the fact she has feelings for Medaka, and the series will turn into a gender romantic comedy with less emphasis on the fan service. Between that and Tsubumi, there are enough problems here that I can see a continue beyond point 2, and this break persists, but there are signs of improvement toward the end of Volume 1, so I'm willing to give it a second chance. To demonstrate why this is such a popular series, maybe it just isn't for me, and it's okay, but I think there's simply more to this one than we see in this first outing. Medaka Kuroiwa is previous to my charms Volume 1 comes to the West thanks to Kodansha. It's been translated by Ankit Pam Dong Yong with lettering by Arbash Mughal. The release ran with no issues. There's a color page included at the beginning too, which is always a nice inclusion. The series is ongoing in Japan, with 10 volumes has recently surpassed 150,000 copies in circulation. Kodansha has so far released even its volumes digitally in English, with the physical releases on the bi-monthly schedule. Volume 2 is coming up to bring the August with number 3 following October. Overall, Medaka Kuroiwa is impervious to my charms is off to a perfect start. There's quite a few issues that prevent me from getting invested, but toward the end of the volume, things are starting to improve, so it may simply be a series that needs another chance to prove itself. A review of the series can be found on Kodansha's website. A review copy from Kodansha was supplied by Turnaround Global Comics, Turnaround Publisher Services, 6 out of 10.